Hello, everyone. Today is Sunday. Here's, I think, week 7. So this is going along nicely here. And I'm afraid to leave my room because it's 14 degrees outside, and even though the sun is shining in through my window, 14 degrees outside, and it's the worst thing in the world. Bone-chilling cold out there. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today is for the last year, so what is today, the 14th, Happy Valentine's Day, look at that. Last year, on the 16th, I began this, which is just a silly old notebook, right? But what it's actually become is a gratitude journal. So, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about how this came to be. There's a number of people in my life who I've met who have seemed nicer and more giving and more charitable and more magnanimous than any other people that I've ever met. And there's like a somewhat of a top 5 in my head of like these people who just, they kind of don't even seem human. They're so giving and nice. And despite how little I feel like I can relate to them on that level, because, I put them so high up on this pedestal, doesn't change the fact at all how much I admire them. So, I would observe them when they were, in my life at their various, times, and I would just take notice as how they would think about things and how they would respond to various situations. And so, in admiring these people, the question becomes, how can I be more like these people? So that's the first thing. Second thing, through all of, people I've looked up to, whose books I've read, and just kind of influential figures, a number of people have talked about the benefits of keeping a gratitude journal. And so, one time you hear this and it's just one time too many, like, all right, well, let me get on this. So I got on that. So I started keeping it last year, and I realized that specifically changing the thought process to things you'd ordinarily complain about would eventually lead to lasting changes, basically through a concept that I learned about last year called neuroplasticity, which is just a wonderful thing. It's basically the idea that your brain changes based on how you use it and what senses you use and what areas of your brain are being used. And so if your common reaction to something is always like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened, well, if every time that trigger that leads to that thought process happens, then why not let it happen and then follow up with, that's not the worst thing that's ever happened. In fact, it's awesome because whatever, and then find a way to do it. So this gratitude journal experiment has basically been on a daily basis. Before I leave my bedroom or leave my bed, I crack open this book, I write the date, I write gratitude, I write I am thankful for ... and then at least 3 things. Sometimes I'd write 7, but at least 3 things that I could honestly say that I was thankful for. And they could be silly, they could be profound, they could be anything. So it could be, I don't know, right now, how powerful my heater is to keep this room feeling warm and making it look like the sun's actually doing something when it's not. Or it could be something as profound as, I don't know, what did I write today? An interaction with a loved one. I don't know, something, the love of a parent or something like that, and just something that's affected you in the last 24 hours or so, or something that you're just thinking about right now. And so what I've come to learn from this little experiment is, it also came from, there was a quote one time I read, and I thought it was pretty impressive. You cannot be angry and grateful at the same time. And so I heard it, I thought, and I was like, how could I be angry and grateful at the same time? And I haven't found a way to do it yet, so I thought it was pretty convincing there is 5 minutes. Keep a gratitude journal. It's awesome. See you next week.